morning, good morning, good morning. So I'm pleased you've all joined us for this sing-along to the sound of music. Are you all in the right room? Great, well that's a good start. Okay. Is it got that note? I'm not joking. Okay. No, thank you all very much for turning up, and we're very appreciative that you could all join us today. My name's Tracy Keatman. I'm an independent WASH consultant, and I also act as the coordinator of the WASH Funders Group. If I go to that first, oh, sorry, I can do it myself. I have a clicker. So what is the WASH Funders Group, I've been asked? You know, the name, it's so strange. What does it imply? And as you may have guessed, it is a group of WASH funders. So, you know, we thought, keep it simple. So today really is an opportunity for us to share a little bit about who we are as a group and what we do and how we do it, and also mainly to engage in conversations about how funding happens and how it can be supported by better collaboration amongst donors and those that they support, those that they fund. So really the majority of today's session is a discussion at your table level, which is why I was so pedantic about getting everybody to the right table for the right time and the right topic. I'll explain more shortly. So with that, I just wanted to highlight that there's an online version of this event as well, so we can't see them, but they are there. So please rest assured. And they will be having their own table conversation as well, and we'll hear back from them at the end. So the plan is, after this introduction, you'll have a discussion at your table, and then we'll come back to hear some reflections. Does that sound okay? Is that the session you thought you were coming to, not the sound of music? Okay. Any spare seats? Yeah. There's auction of seats. There's 2 over here. 1. It's a great table. I never knew I'd see the day when Lewis Borstin was the bouncer of the... Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll just get... Oh, sorry, there's been some debate about which table Sasha will sit out from, so, okay. Okay, you've been recruited. Okay, so there's still a couple of spots. There's one over here. Sorry, this is a fun table they're proclaiming. Okay, so that's not bad. 3 minutes in and everybody has a seat and at the right table with the right people. Yes? Yeah, great. Okay, then so what I'll do here is just explain a little bit more. Can you see over the top of my head? I assume so. I'm not 7 foot tall. Okay, so realistically today we just wanted to provide this little bit of background. What is the WASH Funders Group? And talk about collaborative financing, and then come back together to hear your ideas and thoughts about how collaborative financing can be better supported with your ideas from in the room. So WASH Funders, I haven't got the correct glasses. I might have to look at the large version. So we came together in about 2020 as a group of about 23 funders, now 29, really to learn from each other and share opportunities for collaboration, all with a view to improving the effectiveness and efficiency of the funding. And I would say before 2022, there was a group of about 5 or 6 of those same funders who used to meet every year at World Water Week and exchange information on a more informal basis. So it did really start in 2015 with that smaller group, but then became a larger group with the coordinator, which is me, in about 2020. And some of the first activities that we did were looking at how to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. So together, the idea is that there would be greater leverage and resources to tackle some of those bigger, difficult, tricky questions in the WASH sector. So that's a bit about the background, when we came together and why, and then a bit more about what we do. So there are 3 main objective areas, and you can see them all here. One really is, and I can't see that because it's too small, and I should know off by heart, of course, is to come together to share data and information, to understand more about each other's strategies and programs and policies, the partners that you all work with, and sharing how best to do that. The second objective area is more about promoting co-learning amongst peers. We recognize there's often a request for donors to be better coordinated and to collaborate better and to do better and more financing. So what better way to ensure there is synergies and few duplication efforts to then what better way to do that than to come together and be more aligned in our thinking and our learning. So the group learns together around different topics within WASH and also around different financial mechanisms or financial instruments. And then thirdly, we aim to identify and build on areas of mutual strategic and practical interest. So that's coordinating activities, promoting collective actions. That could be co-funding, co-financing, or it could be sharing ideas on how to develop a new approach and supporting partners with that. So that's a bit more about the what we do. And then who are we? You've probably heard the names of many of them as we went round the tables just to check everybody was in the right place. But it's a group of 29 like-minded family and corporate foundations and programs with very varied portfolios across the whole of the WASH sector, some coming towards WASH from a very different perspective than others. So some more of a focus on resource management, water resources and environment, others more from the public health perspective. And so it's a real mix, which is why that diversity is so valuable and rich, to bring in those different ideas from across sectors and different portfolios of funding. And so thinking back to the whole theme of Water Week this week, which is around bridging borders and different silos, funders are also able to do that across their different funding mechanisms and portfolios and understanding how best to do that. And then in terms of, so I've mentioned that bit, the different entry points as well as the different portfolios, and of course using different types of instruments, which could be loans or investments or impact investments, equity, other types of support, and very flexible as well. And so I would say when we've looked at what brings us all together, what are some of the common themes, you can see them all here. So of course, first and foremost, ensuring there's sustainable services, clearly climate resilient sustainable services, quite a long name, and that they're inclusive and able to address systemic problems. So working very much at that kind of system strengthening level. There's an interest across the group in market-based approaches, and of course using innovative and sustainable finance and partnerships, which is why we're here today and aiming to partner with different and more organisations, including with other types of funders. So we've been here this week meeting with other bilateral agencies and other types of funders to understand how does that funding and funder landscape fit together. Okay, so a little bit about the numbers. I just analysed this the other day, so it's hot off the press in case you had a look at our website last week and it provided different details. So at the moment, there's a lot of different organisations funded by the WASH Funders Group members, currently 223, and that's all around the world. And then of those, 69 are funded by at least one funder. So in terms of distinct funding relationships, some are funded by maybe up to 8 of the funders. Others, it may be 2 or 3 or 4, and it might be for specific programs or for unrestricted support. So there's a real kind of mix of who's funding whom for what and where, but a lot of alignment and knowledge shared to make sure there's no duplication. Overall, from 28 of those 29, there's about an annual WASH budget level of that's too small, can't read it, $225 million. I'll just face that way. And then that is different, of course, to the total live amount, which is 336 million. So that's in current live investment in the sense of there may be multi-year programs that cut across the annual budget. And then the annual investment size, I maybe should have done the mean. I was never very good at maths, so I realized belatedly that the average maybe only gives you an indication, but the mean may have been better. And the average then of those, some of the members, 25 of the members, size of investment is 700,000, but the range is quite extreme, as you see. It could be from about $50,000 to $3.5 million. So it's a very broad spectrum. But just to give you a little bit of that background information at the collective level. In terms of the where, I think I've covered the what, the who, the where, and now with the where. The majority of the funding is committed to activities, partners and programs in sub-Saharan Africa, of course, looking at the WASH sector more broadly. Of course, some in a smaller amount in Asia and Latin America, and then others in other regions of the world. So that's just to give you that overview of where it fits. And there we go. We have got a website. I've basically told you nearly everything that's on that website. But if you wanted to have a look, what you can see there is a list of the members and links to their websites too. So we're not a registered entity as the WASH Funders Group. It's an informal, loose collaboration. I'm a part-time coordinator of the group. You know, we're quite informal in that sense, but we did decide it would be useful to have a website so you know who's in the group and who isn't in the group and what it is we do and what we don't do. So we don't have we don't have a pooled pot of money or anything like this. It's more about the members coming together to share and learn. So that's my overview of the group. Is that okay for everyone? Oh, thank you. Oh, I might do this more often. Thanks. Okay, so with that, what I wanted to do is explain what's going to happen next, because that's the most important bit, having these conversations at the table level and hearing examples of collaborative funding. And the examples you'll hear, of course, are just that. They're examples. They're not everything that funder does at the table that you're sitting with. It's some specific examples which show where collaborative approaches, whether that's across sectors, looking more at WASH and IWRM, or across different types of funders using different types of finance. It's those examples of collaborative finance. It's not everything they do, of course. So just to highlight that. And so that's where we'll focus the conversation. And as you'll see, there are 4 themes. I think you've realized that already. You're sitting at a thematic table, and you can see them all there. And what we're going to ask you to do is to, after introductions, of course, you'll hear some examples from the funders at the table, and to start addressing some of these key questions that we've highlighted here. So more around the benefits and the added value, the potential gaps and challenges of having collaborative or collective finance, especially from the perspective of being somebody receiving that finance. We'd love to hear those kind of views, and this is an open conversation, so please feel free. We don't want to kind of beat anybody up in the room though, and don't go as far as that. So, but if you have frank feedback to share, that's what we want to hear, and it's an open, safe space to do that. And finally, if there's any other ways and means that type of collaborative finance could be done better. So, in essence, they're the prompt questions, and I'll leave them up there when we get to it. I should also say it's like on this next slide, a Chatham House room table affair, in the sense of you can obviously feel free to share information, but not to attribute it to specific people. So to ensure that that does feel like a confidential, safe space for people to share. It's a Star Trek convention in the next room. That's really strange. I don't know what that is. That's quite scary. Okay, fair enough. We'll continue. So, yes, Chatham House table rules. You can read them there, and there'll be a discussion at that level as well, at the table level. So just to remind you that you're free to share, but don't attribute what you hear to specific people. You'll have already seen you've got about 3 different funders per table. So you can hear some of the diversity of the approaches that they have. And there's a resource person. One of those 3 is there to also help keep time, moderate the discussion, and capture some key points to take away. So we will share those takeaways with you at the end. We have, well, if they're captured on an online Google Doc, we can show them. But if they're not there, we'll be able to share them with you afterwards. So if you do want to hear the results, they'll of course be published by Siwi. But if you want to give me your card or details, I can also share them with you afterwards. So that's the plan. And I think that's just the wedding list, the table set out, just in case you wanted to see it in its entirety. And I enjoyed making it on Canva. So there we go. So that's the plan. Back to this one. Oh, sorry, the timing. I didn't cover that. That's quite straightforward. You've got an hour. In fact, we're dead on time. All these years of practicing. Oh, sorry. So there's obviously an hour. You think that's quite a long time, but it will fly by, believe me. And so we just did want to make sure that you can cover everything at that table level. So after some introductions, the funders that are at your table will also have a reminder of how the table will operate. You'll hear examples from two of them. Of course, the third person there as well will also share how they work and what they do. And then time for more general discussion from your table colleagues to introduce yourself. And I would request that you also do that pretty quickly because there's a lot of people at each table. So it's like a 2-minute per person kind of timeline. Just an overview to give a feel of who's there and who's doing what. And then, of course, considering the key questions. And we'll have a 15-minute wrap-up at the end. And I won't be coming to everybody to hear what did you discuss and in detail, because we'll capture those key points, but it will just be to get a flavour. Does that make sense? Everybody happy? Okay, and we'll do the sing-along at the end. Okay, right, I better learn the words while you all discuss. So please do enjoy the discussion with your table colleagues, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone online. Just a heads up for you that we are all setting up different online breakout rooms. So it's a bit silent now, but you will be allocated a separate room.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to have you all on board. I think we are 4 resource speakers from the organizations Aqua for All, is myself and Anna-Marie. Then we have Alexandra Lundqvist from the Case for Her, and Hilary Omala from the Dovetail Foundation.
I can put a little bit of sound so we can hear it in this one. Nothing?
Oh, no.
And just waiting until we'll be split up into groups.
Okay. He's hosting it. So, he's waiting. Okay. I don't know if they had put on like if he's having trouble with. Maybe we can talk with him if you want to. You want to?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, still. I see also Tracy. We're still setting up all the different breakout rooms. So
Okay.
please.
Oh, so you're going to have breakout rooms?
Well, separate.
Separate rooms. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Are you
right, Alexandra?
Hi, yes, sorry, I'm just trying to put each speaker into the forum, so just working on it. So bear with me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah, and good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Also, we can imagine that some people are also based around the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, maybe even for some. We will just wait a bit more until we have distributed in the different rooms, and then have the same roundtable discussions as the people in this venue. So looking forward to that.
And maybe in the meantime, a request to mute your microphone until we enter the discussion.
Yes, thank you. I see that Alexandra is already doing a great job, but because I see people disappearing from the from the main room. So for the time being, maybe we can just already start with no, not needed anymore. It's but
Just tell me where to go. I like being lost. How about you? Okay, welcome back, everybody. If you could all face me. I have a power complex, so, you know. Sorry. Okay, so thank you all for those discussions. If you could all face the room. Thank you, your colleagues at your table. Thank you so much. We're also just going to try and show you the online tables, as there were 4, which was news to our online moderators, our willing and fearless colleagues from the Washfunders group who are sitting in their offices around the world, or in fact just downstairs, and running this session for us. I think they maybe can't find them yet, but there were 4 online tables with a moderator each, which is fantastic, about 10 or 12 in each room. So well done to them. They can hear us, I think. Yay, thank you. We may be able to hear from them. It's like, you know, talking to the moon somehow. We shall have
Hello there.
Hi, hi. Is that you, Anne-Marie, or is that Alexandra?
Yes, it is.
Tell us, how did that go, and what were some of the key reflections that you had from your table sessions?
Oh, rightfully putting me on the spot.
Well, you can tell us, how did it go trying to split everyone into 4 groups?
It was challenging, Alexandra, right? Alexandra did a great job, but unfortunately the chat rooms were inactive, so we couldn't invite people to share things in writing. But we were split up in rather small groups, so it was easy to give everyone the opportunity to speak.
Fantastic. And does any of you, would you like to share? Either you, Anne-Marie, or Adrian, or Alexandra, or Hilary, did you want to share just a couple of reflections? Or now that I've put you on the spot on a big screen in a room full of 100 people, would you prefer to say no? It is up to you.
He's sharing for... go ahead, Hilary.
Please go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we had a good discussion, and I would say it was focused on roughly 4 areas. One is where not many funders are willing to pay for the processes that lead to market-based innovations, as one. Funders talking about blended financing, collaborative financing, but not necessarily speaking to each other. But the main one was unrealistic impact measurements and expectations from funders, and the need to standardize that and quit the focus on short-term impact measurements that are usually overly expensive, and shifting to long-term impact measurements, but also be willing to fund these partners in the long term. So those were the main, we had a very good discussions around those.
Thank you so much, Hilary. And Alexandra or Adrian or Anne-Marie, just a couple of quick reflections, or if not?
I could just share a few. It was a very interesting conversation, and very happy to hear how many people have had very positive experiences in collaborative funding initiatives in several different versions. One hurdle that was shared is it's very difficult to combine the data that is needed in order to successfully achieve a funding collaborative. Some people measure data quite differently, and the time that's needed to actually achieve a combined shared data perspective is not really there. The resources are not in place to have that time to do that. So that was quite interesting to hear that pre-work, there's not really time to do that because all of these organizations are relatively nimble and resources are kind of strapped, etc. So if there was more room for that, then collaborative funding would probably happen more. Also, a person shared to approach corporations, not only foundations that are backed by corporations, but corporations directly, that there's a kind of gap in knowing how to navigate approaching them for funding collaborative. So it's also very interesting to learn about. But in general, very positive experiences in collaborative funding. And somebody suggested maybe a WASH funder tracker of areas shared and geographical locations shared in order to also map out and see where collaborative funding can be more tapped into. So So that was an interesting suggestion, I think.
Great, thank you so much. And Adrian, any rapid reflections from your group?
Yeah, I think the most important one was the request to always ensure that it's a two-way street. So the organizations that we spoke with from all around the world, which is of course nice when you have a virtual group that everybody can chip in. They really requested to be able to co-create in terms of what kind of things are funded and how that works. And we encountered that both as a challenge for some organizations, but also as a success story from Ghana, where they had a very inclusive co-creation process with several ministries and other funders on the table, which is now leading towards a country paper. So thank you for all your contributions, people in my group.
Thank you so much. Anna-Marie, just anything to
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for all the contributions, and sorry for that I needed to cut you off. All of a sudden, it was only 5 seconds left, so sorry. Yeah, I think several interesting things were discussed. Some also interesting examples of different funders coming together. But in terms of what is needed was, yeah, I think what we all know what was identified is that DFIs need to bring in bigger investments for infrastructure. And of course, funders like the one in the WASH Funders Group bring in the very needed flexible funding. So that already helps. But what was also identified is how can we as WASH Funders Group bring out the story, right? So as a combined effort. So, and for that is data is needed, case studies of companies, and also like a mapping of what type of funding is needed, how flexible. So that is one way in which we could leverage our efforts according to the participants. Another one was to have intentional engagement with DFIs, or to support organizations that do that. So kind of advocacy work. And let's see, a third aspect was mentioned is that reporting benefits is key. So that is often a gray area where governments have limited vision on. So really reporting benefits and identifying the needs. There was more said, but I was also typing, making notes. So these three things particularly stick with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I would like to give you all a round of applause, and with the table in the room, everyone in the room, because that was fantastic work and spontaneous, as we expected that you all might be in one room together with possibly 5 people. So it's amazing that 40 people joined you. Oh, they've disappeared. They can hear us.
We're here.
Oh, you are still there. Good, you can hear us. So thank you so much for doing that and spontaneously. We appreciate it. And to all the audience members who joined online, thank you for your patience with that. And so in the room, we just have, 4 minutes left. So somehow Sasha is going to run around the room for any 1 or 2 people that just wanted to share any key reflections that came up for them. And I should highlight that we've had fabulous note-taking, key point people capturing details on a shared Google Sheet, which we can possibly also show. I'm not sure. Mike, can we show that too? Just to recognize that you have all obviously contributed lots of content, and we have captured some of these and all the great ideas you've come up with. Anyone wanted to jump in? Emily, over the back, just to make Sasha run across the room.
The farthest possible.
Yeah, we've got a sprightly young Sasha to run.
Quickly, I think we talked a lot about metrics and about how, because we're talking about system strengthening and how hard that is to quantify, and how do you do that for corporate and for a DFI, and it's very, very difficult. Specifically, there was a great quote I want to share that said it's about contribution, not attribution, and that a lot of the sector can get that wrong, and I thought it was really helpful. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
If Sasha can attempt the assault course, there we go. Thank you.
Market-based solutions, we identified that there's a lot of emerging market-based solutions, and there's a lot of people that are very eager to be very involved, but the ticket price at which they get involved is 6 figures. And so there's a significant gap that there are not many players helping those emerging market-based solutions to cover that gap, get business ready, investment ready. And so that's a space for opportunity.
Yeah. Yes. Anybody else? Yeah, thank you.
I'll let you too. I guess I'm speaking.
Thank you, Wendy.
We had, I think we had many interesting ideas, but two things that stuck with me so far is that we should really consider as a collaborative funding some of these enabling factors that can then be used by multiple organizations so we can de-risk large swaths of space at the same time instead of just by organization to organization. And that as a funding collaborative, we should probably allow some pitch sessions to save people's time.
Okay.
Opening up Pandora's box.
Okay. Any other final comments? No, well, that's good then, because it's 28 minutes past. Oh, is there one?
Just one more.
One more.
I'm only speaking because Brian refused to. We also, what Alexandra said about having a way to sort of coordinate between all the funders and also all your fundees, we suggested perhaps you could set up a notice board on your new website so that people could do sort of some kind of speed dating type scenario on there, or funder could see what things they could potentially collaborate on. But any metric to try and engage everyone together and lead to more collective action would be amazing.
Okay, thank you. Any final person? Oh, Lauren, actually just here, Sash.
Where?
Thank you.
And I'm sure Tracy's going to say this anyways, but just recognize that this is a new group, right? And we're trying to come together to really do better and be better funders and to really like make this impact grow and be faster. And so that feedback and today was really, really helpful. And please don't hesitate to share with us on your ideas and your thoughts because we're all in this together. So I just wanted to say,
fabulous.
Bear with us. We're getting there. Yes. We're on the growth. And we're on the path.
Thank you. It's a good call for that. I think it is, there's always a lot of expectation as well when funders come together, and I know lots of people wanted to talk to everybody today, so we very much appreciate this opportunity. It's the first time we've had a session at World Water Week, which is a testament to the fact that everybody could come together, agree on a proposal, go through the entire planning process together, and get in the room. I mean, this is amazing. So thank you all to the WASH Funders Group members for doing that. And for your willingness as well and your openness, and including those online, which were colleagues from the Case for Her, from the Dovetail Impact Foundation and Aqua for All. So very much appreciative of everybody's efforts to do that. And I think that's it. We've finished on time, and we'll have to do that. So, thank you. Thank you. Okay.